What's up, you guys? It's been a week. Do you guys know what it's like to I don't even know how to get into this. I think I want to talk about maybe how hard it is when you don't have family members who understand what you're going through. So, let's rewind to 2 months ago, the day I went to the mental hospital. I, at that point, had 3 attempts at taking my own life because I was so depressed. And I went to my dad's house to kind of get support. And I think I was hoping for comfort. I think I was hoping to finally bridge a gap between me and my dad's relationship, because even though he's my father and I did live with him for a year, almost 2 years, we're almost like acquaintances. I just don't feel comfortable sharing certain things with him because I feel like he can be very overly conservative. I feel like he can be a little overly religious, and sometimes he places his expectations on faith on me, and sometimes those expectations don't actually look like the expectations that God has for me. And so I go to his house and I'm telling him, Dad, I'm going to go to the hospital and check myself into a behavioral health facility because I'm in so much pain right now, and it's just really hard for me to push through. I'm at a place where I just can't push through anymore. And he tried to meet me. I'm not going to say he didn't. I think he tried, but sometimes people don't have the capacity to hold where you are. And that's something me and some of my friends have been talking about. Some of my, and black friends, you guys, some of my black friends, we talk about how sometimes, unfortunately, our family members, they just don't understand depression. They don't understand that there's a difference between I'm feeling sad or I'm experiencing a temporary bout of depression from I have a chemical deficiency. I think about taking my own life because I'm in so much pain and I don't know what to do because you've experienced so much trauma or because you have a chemical imbalance. There's a difference. People don't do enough research on depression because so many people claim depression, but they're not actually depressed. And for a long time, I fought my own diagnosis. I was like, well, I'm depressed, but once I get out of that situation, I won't be depressed anymore. That is just not the case. I've had to get clinical help, and that's neither here nor there, but I was just telling my dad what I was going through, and he kind of was like, well, I didn't do things the way I was supposed to, I wasn't there for you. I didn't marry your mom. You went through a lot of things, and I know those are things I have to answer for, when I give my account to God. And I don't believe that, because if we had to give an account to God, who could stand? Giving an account to God, in my opinion, is for the unbelievers. When you give your life to Christ and you decide to believe in him, your debt gets wiped clean. There is no accountants. We are going to the mercy seat when we stand before Jesus. But my dad, unfortunately, is so caught up in his own legalistic mindset that and condemnation that he just can't see it. And the conversation, I totally started dissociating and disconnecting in that moment. And he was like, I've been through a lot of things too. I was in the military. My wife left me. I joined the military for her. Not my mother, you guys, just another woman prior to me being born, to him meeting my mom. And because my father was not always a pastor, you guys, he wasn't always saved. But he just kind of started talking about some things. He was like, but I was always able to look back and see the joy and see the good things. And I don't disagree with that. I can see many good things in my life right now, but it doesn't cancel out the pain that I still feel. And he just started to make me feel bad. He was like, all I can do is kind of point you to God. And if you're telling me he's not enough, then I don't know what to tell you. My therapist told me I was depressed, because he's also ex-military. He's like, well, my therapist told me I'm depressed, and they prescribed me all kind of medications, but I don't need it and I don't take it because I know where my help comes from. And he just made me feel like my faith in God wasn't big enough. If I had had more faith, or if I just believed bigger or better, I wouldn't be going through what I'm going through now. But that's just not biblical. Because David was going through real suffering. Paul went through real suffering. Jesus went through real suffering. And nobody ever said to them, well, your faith should be bigger. Never. But like that's what my dad did to me. A pastor, y'all. Like I went trying to get compassion and trying to finally like connect with my dad and share with him my struggles, and he just threw stones at me. He was like, "Well, you know what? You always quit when it gets hard." And I was like, that is just so painful. Like I started crying. I was like, maybe I'm not as lazy as you think. Maybe I genuinely need help. Maybe you're mistaking laziness for a lack of desire to want to be here. I'm 28 years old and I didn't even think I was going to make it this far. When I was like 14, like I didn't think I was going to make it this far. Like I didn't want to be here. I wish I had not had been born, and sometimes I still feel like that, but like here I am and I'm fighting. Like I'm fighting every day to be here. I'm fighting suicidal thoughts. I'm fighting to wait and to hope and to believe in God. Like I truly am walking by faith here, because there's nothing in my circumstance that's telling me I'm not always going to live like this, or I'm not always going to live with depression. But like here I am trusting and knowing that God is bigger than like whatever the doctor may tell me. And I just feel like my faith looks different than his. And so like, unfortunately, that was about 2 months ago, and my mental health has not been upward. You know what I mean? Like it's not gradually getting better. It's linear. It's like up and down, up and down, up and down. And it's just been hard. And these past 2 days, like I was so depleted and I was crashing, you guys. Like sometimes I get to work and 2 hours into the day, I'm falling apart, and my body and my mind are begging me to go home. And it is just excruciatingly indescribable. And I called my grandma this morning because yesterday was so hard. I was fighting so hard not to hurt myself. Like I had the desire, like I honestly, I would say I hate to be honest, but like all I can do is be honest at this point. I genuinely was thinking about getting in my car and driving off a freaking bridge. Because I was like, I can't keep enduring. Like I'm telling God, Lord, I love you, but like I cannot keep enduring. I have been holding on and waiting and hoping since June, Lord. This has been the longest season and the worst episode of depression I have ever experienced. And I called my grandma this morning and I was like, Grandma, you know, like, do you think maybe you guys could just like watch my dog for me? Mind you, my grandmother lives with my dad. And I'm like, do you think maybe like you guys could just watch my dog for me? Because I'm thinking about going back to the hospital to get some more help, because I didn't trust myself to be alone. And unfortunately, she didn't have the capacity to hold where I was either. She did the best she could, but sometimes people just don't know what to do other than to mishandle you. She told me, you know, it was hard for me too. Like I have had certain thoughts, but I had children, so you know, harming myself wasn't an option for me. And I think that maybe you should focus on serving and helping other people and having people to rely on you can help you. And that is biblical and it's not wrong. However, you have to recognize and understand that when a person is telling you that they don't even want to live for themselves, you don't have it to make it for somebody else. And I was hoping to kind of get more from her, because she was a nurse, and I was hoping that she would understand the medical side of things. But unfortunately, she just kind of gave me like the church answer. She didn't really meet me either. She was like, you have to think on the good things, and you have to think on the things that are true and worthy of praise. And I'm like, Grandma, you think that I don't know I'm blessed? Like, you think that I don't know how grateful, like I'm not grateful? I have a car, I have a good job, I have clothes on my back, I have a dog, I have family, I have friends. Like I'm very much aware that I have so many things to be grateful for, but depression does not equal to ungratefulness. It just doesn't. Like you can be in pain and still count your blessings. I don't know why Christian culture would paint the picture that you can't, because Jesus never said that. And it just really sucked, you guys. Like I called her crying and I'm just like, I need more support. And she was like, well, I don't know what you think the hospital's gonna do. And I'm like, you run to the hospital whenever you have like a minor pain, and like it just, I really had to just hold my tongue and bite my tongue, you know, like it really sucked. It sucked really bad. And she was like, well, you know, I thought you had like a church and people that to support you and that could pray for you. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, you know, I know how you feel. And I'm like, no, grandma, you don't know how I feel. And that was something my dad said to me too. He was like, some somebody's calling me, but I don't know who that is. I'm not going to answer. Um, he's like, I know how you feel. And I was like, no, Dad, you don't. You guys don't know how I feel. And if you knew how I feel, you wouldn't be saying these things to me. Sometimes people experience sadness and even, like, you know, bouts of depression, but there's definitely a difference with clinical depression. And that's kind of just where I have to rest with my family members. At one point, my stepmom even told me, you know, like, a Christian may have their bouts with depression, but they should never be depressed. Like, they should be able to just trust in God and say, it is well within my soul, and know God's going to handle everything. And I was just like, you guys just have the answer for everything. Like, I like, God didn't tell Hannah that when she was praying and like crying out about her not being able to have children. God didn't say that to the Israelites when they were asking to be delivered from Egypt. Jesus didn't say that to Mary and Martha when they were weeping over Lazarus. He wept with them. I don't understand. I just don't understand people sometimes. And like, I've had people tell me, you should pray for them and continue to try to open up to them. But you know what? Like, I'm not going to continue to allow myself to be hurt from people who don't have the capacity to hold where I'm at. And I think that that's wisdom. You do not have to, like, there's a difference between forgiveness and reconciliation. I can forgive you for that retarded thing you said to me and us not be reconciled. This video keeps getting interrupted, but I'm going to tell my truth. So anyway, it made me feel really isolated and alone when my grandma said that to me. Like, I keep 988 on speed dial. That's the sad thing. And honestly, most of the time they say things to me that help more than family. And sometimes, like, that's just the way it is, you guys. And I want to encourage you, if you're dealing with like mental health and you're having a hard time, and you don't have to be suicidal, if you're just having a hard time and you're depressed, I recommend calling 988. I recommend reaching out to the suicide line. They've helped me a lot. They're even the reason why I can afford to go to therapy. Otherwise, like, I would have no way to have therapy without taking that first step. But so I was just like, you know what, God, I love you, but if I'm not going to be able to lean on my family, what the heck am I even doing here in Jacksonville still? Like, I don't even like this city. This is just where I got saved. Like, I stayed here because I thought this is where you wanted me to be. But I'm not happy here. I'm not happy here. I have no desire to stay here. So like, this morning I went on a walk and I was praying. When I say praying, I mean screaming. Like, I was looking up at the sky, yelling. I was not having it. Like, I was letting God have it. I was definitely having a Jonah Jeremiah moment, and I put some of it on TikTok. But that's how my day has been. And today's better. I'm definitely glad I called out and I did not force myself to go to work today, because I did not have it in me to go. I just didn't. And I just kind of spent the day listening to some music. I went and I got breakfast, and I've just been chilling. And tomorrow I'm off too, because I changed my ability, and it's just gonna have to be what it's gonna have to be. I was talking to this girl, I think she said her name was Monica, on 988, and she was like, you know what? She was like, there's no job worth your mental health. I understand you have bills and you have a livelihood to support, but what good is it if it's costing you your mental health? And I was like, you know what, girl? You're right. You're right. $18.40 is not enough for the load I carry at work. Okay, so yeah, I'm about to make some changes. I'm not staying in Jacksonville. I'm not staying in Jacksonville another year. I hate this city. I can confidently say that. I cannot stand this city, and I cannot wait to leave. And yeah, I don't care. I know people are probably going to say, oh, you can't make that decision. You know, you're depressed. Like, depressed people make rational decisions. But this depressed person is going to be making a rational decision, and I'm getting the heck out of here. I'm not staying here. So yeah, I hope you guys have had a good week. Mine has not been the best, but I am still out here waiting, trusting the Lord my God. I'm hanging in there. Please hang in there with me. I love y'all. I'll see you in the next episode.